Hey friend, welcome back to Living in His Purpose. So today we're kicking off something that I'm really excited about. A three-part series straight from the hearts of women just like you and me. Not long ago, I sent out a little questionnaire and I just asked, what are you struggling with? What do you wish would change in your day-to-day life? And wow, the answers were so honest. They were so vulnerable. They weren't fluffy or filtered. They were real. Things like, I'm tired of feeling overwhelmed. I just want some energy again. I miss feeling close to God. And I thought, okay, we need to talk about this. So over the next few episodes, I'm diving into the top 3 things that women said they're craving right now. Not Pinterest perfect goals, but soul level change. The kind that actually brings peace, clarity, and momentum. But God's way. So if you've been feeling stuck, worn out, or just plain lost in the noise of life, girl, you are in the right place. Whether you're folding laundry, sitting in a car line, or finally grabbing a quiet moment, these next few episodes are for you. So let's get started on this journey together. Okay, so today we're talking about something that hits close to home for us, for a lot of us. It's time, and not just the lack of it, but the feeling that it's constantly slipping away while we stay stuck in our busy mode. Have you ever looked up and realized you thought it was Monday and it was Thursday? Welcome to my world. And if you've ever ended the day thinking, what did I even do today? And why am I exhausted but still feel behind? You are not alone. And sis, it's not just about needing a better planner. It's also about what's happening underneath the time struggle. So today we're going to look at the mindsets that keep us stuck, the ways our brain can work for us or against us, and how our faith plays a big role in how we spend our time. Okay, so let's begin with something foundational. Your brain. God has designed our brains with 2 major systems that play a big role in how you manage your day. You have your frontal cortex. It's kind of like the CEO. It's in charge of making decisions, thinking about your future, setting those goals, and sticking to your priorities. And then you have your little amygdala, and it's more like your bodyguard. It's always scanning for threats, ready to jump into a fight, flight, or freeze mode. And now here's the thing. When we're stressed or overwhelmed, the amygdala oftentimes just takes over. And that means that we start reacting instead of responding. We might procrastinate, overcommit, snap at someone we love, or freeze up. Romans 12:2 reminds us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And that means we have to give our brains time to shift out of that stress-based thinking and into the kind of thinking that aligns with God's truth. That, my friend, is where you are going to find your peace. It's not just about what you put in your calendar. It's about what you allow to shape your thoughts. And I have such a passion to help Christian women understand that what we see in this world is not the real thing. It's not the real deal. God has great plans for us, and it's okay to not prioritize what the rest of the world is prioritizing. It is okay to let go of the unnecessary in this world. All right, now we're going to look at self-sabotagers, top 10 time wasters. Let's talk about the real culprits that are stealing your time. And it's not just external stuff. Most time problems come from internal patterns that keep us busy but unproductive. So here are 10 time suckers that I see over and over in the women that I coach. Number 1, people pleasing, saying yes to avoid guilt, even when your spirit is screaming no. Number 2, perfectionism, spending hours tweaking what God has just asked you to finish. Number 3, overcommitting at church. We confuse being useful with being faithful. Number 4, multitasking. Okay, here's a huge spoiler alert, even for women. It makes everything take longer. So often we display our badges to each other about how many irons we have in the fire, but science is telling us that multitasking is actually harmful in getting stuff done. And I'm sorry to be the one to tell you that. And I was super sad when I learned that too. Number 5, social media scrolls. Okay, this one hits home, just maybe a little bit too close to home. Sometimes we use it as a way to rest, but what it is actually doing is fueling comparison, and it's keeping our brain turned on in a way that isn't helpful. There is no rest involved when you're scrolling social media. Number 6, unclear boundaries. Everyone else's urgency becomes your emergency. And my husband has a saying, I'm not sure where he got it from, but it goes like this: lack of preparation on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. So let that sink in for a minute. Number 7, guilt-driven tasks. You're doing it out of obligation, not obedience. Number 8, chronic procrastination. Fear of failing or doing it wrong keeps you stuck. Okay, both of my hands are raised up here. I'm not only teaching you guys, I am completely learning this stuff on my own. Number 9, no morning or evening rhythm. You start and end your day in chaos. Number 10, busyness as an identity, believing that your worth is in how much you do. I want you to hear me on this. You're not lazy. You're tired. And it might be because you've been carrying things that God has never asked you to carry. Okay, let's talk about a big one here. One that really is the complete enchilada over this list that I shared with you. Self-sabotage. This is where I want to get real, because self-sabotage doesn't always look like rebellion. Sometimes it looks good. It's like serving, only you're over-serving. It's thinking, but you're overthinking. It's doing, but you're overdoing. Sometimes we keep ourselves stuck in busy mode so we don't have to face what God is really asking us to do, or because we're afraid we'll fail, or worse, succeed. Self-sabotage is sneaky. It hides behind good intentions, but the fruit of it is stress, confusion, and resentment. And self-sabotage is not a character flaw. It's a protective mechanism. Your brain is wired to keep you safe, not necessarily successful. And here's how it works. The brain prefers the familiar. The brain's number one job is survival. It's not thinking about success. Even if your current habits are unhealthy or unproductive, they're familiar. So your brain sees them as safe. Change equals risk, and risk is uncomfortable. And the brain would rather repeat what it knows than try something new. So think of it like this. Your brain doesn't ask, is this good for me? It asks, is this familiar? Number 2, the amygdala triggers avoidance. When you step into something new, like setting boundaries, pursuing your call, or simplifying your schedule, your amygdala may perceive it as a threat. Now, that threat then activates fear, anxiety, or stress, which leads to procrastination, perfection, or distraction, aka self-sabotage. And then number 3, we have limiting beliefs fuel the cycle. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'll mess this up, I don't have time. They create a loop of avoidance. Your brain then looks for proof that these thoughts are true and will keep you in that stuck protective mode. And this is why renewing your mind is so powerful. You're not just changing your behavior, you're changing the belief that drives that behavior. And then we look at the brain equating rest with danger if you're used to hustle. So for many Christian women, rest feels wrong, like we have to earn our peace. But that mindset trains the brain to associate stillness with guilt. How many of you feel guilty when you take a nap, right? And that's going to lead to filling up your schedule again. This is self-sabotage disguised as service or productivity. So how do we fix all these issues? So far, we've only talked about the problems, and maybe you're feeling discouraged, but wait, there's more. I have to tell you that becoming aware of your patterns, your thoughts, your habits is step 1. Then we have to identify the thought that is keeping you stuck, and you need to change it, which is exactly what I do with my coaching clients. Now, God's word is true and powerful. And when we take our thoughts captive and renew our mind, we can find peace and clarity. So let me share with you some ways to help you coach yourself through some of these self-destructive habits that are stealing your time. Okay, let's start with addressing our spiritual needs here. You don't need to be everything to everyone. You need to be obedient to your assignment. Let God do his God thing. And that's going to require some boundaries. Boundaries with people, boundaries with distractions, boundaries with your own habits. Okay, I've got a shameless plug here, all right, now that I've mentioned boundaries. On June 19th at 6 p.m. at the Aurora Baptist Temple here in Aurora, Missouri, I'm having yet another workshop. In my workshop in April, we talked about toxic people And we only really dabbled in what boundaries look like. And we had such amazing conversations after the camera shut off about how to create boundaries in a way that were godly. So, in this next workshop, I'm going to share with you what I've learned along my journey, the what, the why, and how about boundaries. And I would love to see you there. Okay, back to our lesson. Now let's talk about Jesus. He had a massive mission: redeem all of humanity. But you know what? He was never rushed. He never ran around frantic. He didn't heal everyone. He didn't say yes to every request. And in fact, in Mark 1:35 through 38, we see him get up early to pray. And when the disciples came looking for him, they wanted him to go back and do more miracles. And you know what he said? He said, we got to go. We got to go somewhere else. That is why I have come. Jesus had boundaries. He knew his priorities, and he wasn't afraid to disappoint people in order to stay faithful to his purpose. And I'm here today to tell you, you can too. Okay, now as a professional organizer, a person who loves planners, and I have a gazillion irons in the fire, I do understand the value of being organized. And in my personal and my business life, I've been working hard on discovering first the thoughts and habits that were keeping me from managing my time well. And honestly, this is still a struggle. Every day I think of different ways I could be doing things differently. Maybe I could get more done. And so it's a real thing. Okay, but I'm also a very practical person, and I need some practical tools to help me achieve the goals that I have set for myself. And I want to share with you 3 things that have truly helped me. The first one is to understand what's going on in my brain when I'm trying to be productive. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, but his name is Kwik, but he's a brain coach who helps people learn how to learn. And he's got some amazing insights when it comes to focus and productivity. So here are a few of my favorite things that he teaches. First of all, busy is not productive. Just because you're doing a lot doesn't mean you're doing what matters. Now, he also recommends narrowing your focus to your 3 most important tasks each day. Not 30, not 300, 3. And they can be very simple. It might be feed the kids a healthy breakfast. It might be dust the living room. It might be write an email to a friend that you haven't talked to in a year. And he also teaches that brain energy matters more than brain time. And what does that mean? So that means caring for your body with sleep, with movement, with nutrition, and with prayer. So your mind can actually function well. And lastly, a realization that every yes, it has to be a no to something else. And that one really preaches to me. I'm telling you what, I just want to do it all. I want to be able to do all for everyone around me, and that's not possible. When we run on empty, we are not stewarding the minds that God gave us. Let's use our energy for what truly matters. Okay, the second tool I found is this, in my mind, a revolutionary way of keeping tabs of all the information that I take in every day. You know, that stuff that you want to remember, need to remember, you tell yourself you're going to remember it, and then you don't remember that information. This is a system created by Tiago Forte, and it's called the second brain model. And the idea is this: your brain is for having ideas, for being creative. It's not meant to just hold them. So think of your brain as a machine, active and moving. It's not a container. And he teaches the importance of building a system outside of your head to store all the information that truly matters to you. And this is part of what he teaches. He calls it the code framework, CODE. And the C is for capture. You save anything that sparks something in you, a scripture, a sermon quote, an idea, a thought from your quiet time. And the O is for organize. Put these things into clear categories: projects, life areas, resources. You got to make it easy to find. And then you distill, you highlight or summarize the key ideas. You don't need to keep everything. You just keep what inspires you. And then the E is for express. Now you use what you've learned to create, to teach, to write, or to lead, and you let it flow out of you. And here's where this gets spiritual. Just like we store God's words in our hearts, we can also steward the practical wisdom that he gives us by keeping it organized and accessible. Now, me personally, I put this information, I don't have an iPhone, I'm not fancy, I just have an Android. And I use the Google Keep app. Super simple, super easy to use, and it captures everything. It captures URL codes, it captures pictures. You can save pictures there. You can save posts from Instagram in there. Anything that you can get on your phone, you can put it into Google Keep. And it has been a lifesaver, everything that I want. And then you put forward folders in there, and then you can keep that organized in there. God is not the author of confusion. He operates in order, peace, and clarity. And when we create systems that support that, we make more space to hear his voice. So time management isn't just about getting things done. It's about stewardship. It's about not letting the things that matter most get buried under the clutter, whether that's mental clutter, digital clutter, or emotional clutter. And my third tool, my calendar. So using it when I have finally decided that I need to do a thing and I need some accountability, or I just need to remember it because I'm probably not going to remember it. So if you don't see me pull out my phone and put it on my calendar, I'm probably not going to remember it. You need to tell me to bring my calendar out. Now this works well if you like to-do lists or an external source telling you what's next for you. But it's important to understand that before you can decide what tools you need to keep you organized, you need to know what season of life you're in. What are your priorities for this season of your life? What are your priorities, not what the world says? And if you're listening right now thinking, Eve, I need help walking this out, I want to personally invite you to schedule a session with me. Let's talk through your current season. What is your mindset right now, and how we can get you aligned with what God is really calling you to do. I can show you the tools that I use, how I use them, and how to make life simple with the tools. But we'll also talk about the mindsets that are holding you back from being productive, like you imagine yourself to be. You do not have to stay stuck. I see you, and I believe that you can live in purpose with peace. So until next time, friend, keep living in his purpose, and I'm cheering you on.